Okay, so yesterday it took a while to download, but I had to leave in the morning and that just jacks it up. But when I left, it was I had to drive into town, and so I could see the sky really good once I got out of the mountains and stuff. Oh my God. It was okay. So, you know how I was talking about on the trip while I was driving, and I kept sensing like I could feel. It was weird how I could just keep feeling like there was somebody like right on me. And every time I would look, it was this huge shadow in the sky. I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy because it's like you can feel whatever this is. It isn't just like you can see it and look at it. This is the thing, is like, what I recognize is a lot of people are just cut off from their feelings, from their intuition, from their emotions are out of control, but they're cut off somehow from being able to perceive what their senses or something, I mean, to me, it's just a natural thing, but anyways, I mean, I would think everybody would be talking about like, oh my God, feels like it's just going to get you when you go outside. It's so crazy looking, or so crazy feeling. And so I drove into town, and while I was driving, it was, I just noticed it was pretty clear out, and that the sun thing, whatever sun we have over here, was huge and bright and white, and you couldn't look over, and even like you're trying to block it in your car, because even if it's coming from the side, it like stabs into your eyes with this weird light, which now they are coming out with the blue lights are very dangerous for us. That is what I had said when in that study, that thing, when I was talking about the color of the eyes, or the problem with the eyes, and these other things that they had found with the LED light bulbs. It's in that thing with the blue light and stuff, how dangerous it is for us. They already knew all that stuff. That study that was being talked about was like 2015, and that's why I said when they found out that the LED light bulbs and stuff give us cancer and cause problems with our eyes, then they were like, hell yeah, make it a law. Everyone has to have several. That's the only kind of bulb you're allowed to have. That's it. Well, everybody get them. And, they told us that it was for the power. It was going to use less power. They've just, they've made such better light bulbs now. We had these old ancient ones. And then when you put them in, it was like, oh man, the old ones like heat up, which if you were in a home that didn't really have heat, and you had a lot of power though, and there you needed that electricity, those light bulbs to heat your house. Like they're, you could use them, but then in summer you have those light bulbs and they heat your house. Like when I used to have those kind of light bulbs in, you turn lights off because it would make a room so hot. So anyways, now it's coming out with the blue light thing. Oh, no, that's really bad for you. It gives you all these problems. But I saw that in the same exact study. So they put all those light bulbs up knowing that all this stuff is done on purpose. Like, people gotta see, man. So anyways, while I was driving, then, the sun thing, oh, I'm so itchy all the time. The sun thing was, it was hurting my eyes and stuff. So I just kept trying to stay focused on the road, get my stuff. And especially I'm always like, okay, gotta get this done, gotta get this done, gotta get this done. So I was just focused on, getting my stuff done. And so then I went, got it, turned around and started heading back. And that is when I could see it really, because I was driving straight towards it. And it's so funny too, because it always rises and then it just starts circling out around. Like, I haven't seen the sun go over my house since, I don't know. I mean, I would think probably as an adult it did. It depends on where you live and how the rotation is in your area. And, are they using real sun or fake sun? Because there's all sorts of stuff. Because now I'm getting a different kind of view on things. So, and, it's all about expanding how you look at it. And I still don't know all the answers. It's just keep asking more questions, keep opening up, like, to see more and more and more. And so when I was driving, this is what tripped me out. I pulled over and got video, is because I could see the sun and the blinding, and then I could see the big giant purple planet behind it. And then the rest of the sky was bright blue. And it was quite obvious that behind the sun, it was purple. So it was clear. You could see it. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like this big purple spot right behind the sun. And then when you really are looking good, which is hard because of the brightness of the sun thing, that you can see the outer edge looks like a rainbow or something. It's very colorful. And then this is what was weird. So you had the sun bright in the middle, and it was freaking, I mean, it was sending out these, those color, or those burst, like sunburst, like that would look like a giant star or something, how it looked. And then it has the big planet behind it. But then behind that planet, there was on each side of it. So you had the sun, and then you had the thing around it. And then on each side, so on each side of this thing around it, there was light shooting out. I was like, oh my God, that is so crazy looking. And so I got footage, and I was like, okay, so you have the sun, which could be totally, I mean, we already know that's fake. And so then you have these planets coming in, because then I was following this girl, and somebody shared her thing with me again, because I hadn't seen her videos in so long. So I went on and looked at a few, but she's the one who has all these maps, and it's all based on this guy who found this in the 70s, who was put under an NDE for 30 years, but he started speaking out, I think like 10 years ago on Facebook. There's a huge group. But he had mapped it all out. He'd already gone through the government, like, you know, and they said, nope, you're not allowed to talk about this, and made him sign all this stuff. But he is talking about it. And so and this woman obviously follows him. Like, she knew, oh my gosh. And the maps, like, I'd seen these maps before, and they look, I don't know, you just have to see them. It's trippy how it will match patterns in our sky. It's really crazy, because she'll put the picture of the sky next to the map of the planets. And she was explaining it as each planet has its own atmosphere, kind of its own clouds, its own energy going around it. And so when it's coming in, it's creating these weird patterns in the sky, which, you know, I don't know. We know we've got the frequency thing. We know we've got them spraying these chemicals. The chemicals are reacting. But she said the patterns that they follow, the lines, when you line up her maps over those, it follows the same pattern. She's saying that the patterns that it's going is because that the planet is only, how the planet is pushing up, that it can't go anywhere else. So she's showing how these patterns in the sky and stuff match the maps. And it did. It's crazy. And all of these strange names of all these planets. And so what got me thinking is because, okay, so they say that in the end, there's the black sun. And so, and, you know, they keep having these solar flares, and then the place in the sun turns black. But then it's like, okay, but is this footage real? Because we know what NASA, like, where's this footage coming from? Like, there's so many people who are constantly showing this footage. They don't all have, like, telescopes of the sun and stuff. They're getting these pictures off of some website, right? So this website is what I'm saying, could be putting out fake pictures of suns, right? Because the sun could already be black. That could be why they put all these fake suns. Maybe that's why they start being like, well, we got to get some fake suns going, because this other one's burning out. We better hurry up and get some fake ones up here so these people don't know what's going on. And then they definitely are masking the sky, because for all the stuff that's up there, and I saw that other planet a couple weeks ago. It was totally different than this one. But how they had the sun. So that was a definitely fake sun. I mean, it was turned up way too bright. And the other thing is it's the color's off. It doesn't radiate. It is very direct heat. So you have to be in the sight of the light to have the heat. I mean, normally the old sun, you know, would come out in the summer and it would radiate heat and everything would warm up. And so then when they put this one out, and nothing gets warmer unless you're standing right in the sun, and it's like, okay, this is weird. And I noticed that, like, fuck, I think like 2 years ago now at this point. I don't know. I'm not good with time, so. And it is fucking frigid cold here. Like, I'm not even kidding you how cold it is. Even when they kept saying, like, when I was going outside and I was like, oh my God, it feels like a polar ice fucking thing is blown in. And that was 2 days ago. And they were like, oh no, it's like in the 30s, 40s. And then yesterday when I was driving, it said it was like 16, and I was like, yeah, that's more like it. And then went into town and it was like 24. It's like, oh my God, it's so fucking cold. And then, but they're lying. Like this morning, like this is so fucking weird. So this morning, something woke me up. And so then I was laying there. Oh, the TV. Like I put this meditation. I've been sleeping on the couch with Stella because she's having such a hard time. And it's always warmer by the couch anyways when it's cold like this. But so I've been sleeping on the couch. And I put the meditation on the TV. And so it will go off. It says it's going to go for 10 hours. No, it doesn't. And it went off. And so then the bright light comes in there. So it woke me up. So then I was switching it back to the meditation stuff. And Stella was snoring and stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't want to wake her up. And so then I switched it back. And on the top thing, up in the corner, it said it was 5 o'clock. And so I was like, whoa, I can't believe I slept so long. Man, 5 o'clock, damn. And so I'm just laying there thinking about that and laying there trying to be, quiet and stuff like that. And thinking, I like to kind of think about things when I'm awake but still relaxed, And so then, I don't know, I got up and what was it first? I think it was laying on the couch. Maybe it was I looked over at the clock and the clock said a totally different time than the one on the TV. And then I was like, well, that's weird. So really it's only 4 in the morning? And so I was like, that's weird. So then I was like, man, I don't know. That really tripped me out for a minute. That was at 5 o'clock on the TV, and then the phone, and then the clock that's on a battery that, and I just put a battery in yesterday and set the time right before I went to bed. And then it was an hour behind, which, could be the battery or whatever. And then I go into the kitchen to start the hot water, and the clock and the microwave both said it was 3:30. I was like, what? It's 3:30 in there. It's 4 here, 5 there. I was like, okay, this is what I keep saying. There's something weird about time. Time is like all off. It's not like the different things can't even keep up with themselves. And then I picked up my phone. That's what it was. I went and got my phone and looked. And it was a different time. It was a half hour off from the other stuff. And I was like, oh my God, what in the hell? So it was like, okay, everything is off. Nothing's like meeting. I was like, this is so strange. But I've been saying about like time and stuff is so weird. So it wasn't like I was shocked. I was like, oh, see, it's starting to show itself now. Like nothing is matching. All these things are not matching on the clock, which is so strange because normally it all matches. Like, and so now everything's like falling apart. But anyways, so the planet thing. So when I had seen that one, and so the sun was in front of it, and then it had the planet, but then there was a light source behind the planet that was shining out the sides. I was like, what in the world? And see, that's the kind of stuff they got to cover up too. And I've seen where people have caught crazy pictures, especially people at Big Sky. They can see it. I think people in Montana and stuff, the sky watchers. Like, it's crazy stuff that you see. But so the sun coming behind it, then it was like, okay, so is that a fake sun behind it? Like, how many fake suns are up there? Or is that the real sun behind it? And so then it's so far out that this planet's going in front of it, so they put a fake sun in front of it. Is the planet's going to black out the sun? Is the sun already black and they're just trying to hide that? Like, there's so many things that are just like, man, why don't they just tell us? Like, seriously. It's very curious, too, is when things turn to go the other direction, is Trump going to tell us? Is he going to say, hey, everybody be prepared? Because he was the one who came in, like, looking all a fool and silly and people laughing at him when he said he was starting Space Force. You know, I knew that there was something behind that, but there's a lot of stuff he said where it was like, okay, he wouldn't be saying that. I mean, he's a rich business. I mean, he's successful. He's not going to just say stupid shit. Just like there's a reason why he says the things he says. He's not just Harry, blah, just talking. Like, maybe that would be me just talking. And somebody say, yeah, but what did you just say? Like, but somebody who's very, what is that word? It's like I have a bunch of words coming in. Like, not just opportunistic, but a businessman has a certain approach. And it isn't to, any time that he was looking foolish, I knew he was doing it on purpose. He was trying to make it seem like, yeah, come on in. Yeah, come on. Yeah, I don't even see a thing. I don't even notice you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so they get turned lost because this stuff getting thrown out. Oh, you know, just like after I just said the other day about the yoga, you know, and about how important it is that you do your own practice, that the classes isn't really, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's like fast food compared to really doing it. And so yesterday I saw that all of these yogi masters now are charged, just like all those rabbis. It's like a whole bunch of them. The inappropriate behavior, and these are the top yogis in the yoga. You know, they're the ones that are out there like teaching the teachers or whatever. That these are like the top people, because they went through, I think it was like 6 or 8 of them, showing their pictures and stuff. One of them is super, he's like the most famous one apparently. And but I'm not a yoga person. Like, I just do my own stuff. I'm not like, you know, because yoga people, the girl who I had teaching me yoga, who was a yoga person, who went and learned, and, you know, is you call them yogis when you're practicing that all the time. And but even, you know, if me going in and I would still be called a yogi because you're practicing yoga. Like, I don't even know, like Tai Chi, or you still called it, you know, I don't know. Same kind of thing. It's movement, breathing. It's coming into symbiotic. Like, I can't figure that word. It's like a balance between you and your body in those kind of methods. So you connect with you, your heart, your mind, everything connects when you tune in that way, and with the stretching and breathing and holding balance and all of that stuff. So it is important, like I've said, since I started really understanding about that. It's like, why aren't they teaching this to kids in school? Like, the other stuff is stupid. This is what they should be teaching. And besides the fact that they were teaching kids how to protect themselves with karate and stuff like that, then we wouldn't have all of these kids feeling like they needed weapons and stuff, you know, and they would have more respect for violence because it teaches you. So there's just a lot of things, you know, that they just do so backwards, and it's just frustrating because they do it on purpose. And, you know, they're quite successful in what they were trying to do. So anyways, all of these yogis now or yogi masters are going down now, and they've got charges of the assault of the, and I don't even think it's all been on women, but like, oh my God, and there's videos of them, like, you do downward dog, you know, and you stick your butt way up in the air and you got to bend over. There's a whole bunch of different ones. So they go around and get right up behind people, just like what they show in the movies where it's like cringe. Get up there and then pull them up. And there's even videos of them sitting there like pretending to hump them like doggy style while they're, it's like, oh, super professional. Like, who would go to a class where a teacher was like that? Like, this is where people start idolizing, respecting people just for a title, for a persona, instead of really witnessing who this person is. I mean, eventually, obviously it did, but these people get away with this shit because everyone around them accepts it. It's when people start saying, oh, no, and walking away that they start being exposed. It's the more light that is shown, but the dark has to walk away. And it's so crazy. It's how many people are so attached with the darkness and they don't realize it. Just like the people, like the guy who I said who was running around breaking into cars and got caught on the thing, and you saw his little character out there running with them and stuff. It was like, that is, it's like, to me, watch Drop Dead Fred. That to me shows you, is it a time in your life when you've got problems? A lot of kids have a lot of problems. A lot of kids come from abusive realities, and it isn't even that each parent has to be abusive, but it's the thing that is set up for the people to come in and learn from. So the people, I mean, there's a lot of abusive parents out there, but there's also parents who are abusive without even realizing that they're doing or saying anything abusive, because they're just reactive to their own pain. And so, but then the kid will feel, but see, the kid is going to feel that way because the kid is there to change the patterns. So everybody gets these opportunities, but it's really hard to do, to heal when you feel like shit. So, hold on. So the when you're a little kid or in a particularly dark time, I think these things really attach to when you're children, and that is why so many have like what are those called? Not unfortunate, but friends you can't see. Can't think of what it's called now. Drop Dead Fred. There's other movies about it, but anyways, when you watch Drop Dead Fred, you know, he sits there, like anytime her feelings are hurt, he'll sit there and ridicule the person, make fun of them, get her to do stuff that's naughty, break things, you know, all sorts of stuff like that, because it is kind of like like, okay, like you feel really bad, like just think of, you know, you're 3 or 4 years old. Like, to me, when I was having trouble, and this is what is trippy, like, because I've talked about this before, that when I was going through all of my stuff, you know, as a kid, that they were talking to me all the time. And, you know, I knew it was aliens. I didn't know, like, I didn't have, like, oh, there's these ones. I didn't know that. I just knew it was the aliens because the stuff they talked to me about was alien stuff, you know. And so then I knew, but I never was alone. Like, I always knew, and it wasn't ever scary. It wasn't ever like they were being mean. It was just always like this profound knowledge that was coming from outside of me. And, you know, and it's hard when you're a kid. I mean, you're just a kid. Quiet with your crazy talk. So, you know, it's not like anybody was listening, but I was listening. And so, but my guidance, what is that word? It keeps trying to come in, and it's like a whole bunch of different words. They keep, like, I can't shuffle through them, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, mine wasn't, my connection to the other side wasn't troublesome, wasn't like, as a matter of fact, if I was going to do something to get myself in trouble, they would tell me. And then I had said how my mom was going through a whole thing, I don't know, like last year, I think, about like, oh God, how could you let this happen to my daughter, Mom? You know, and was very upset and talking to God about it or whatever. And and then her messages where she was never alone. We were with her always. We were always with her. She was never by herself. And so then when my mom told me that, I was like, that's true. I wasn't ever alone. I always had someone to talk to. And then I started seeing other people saying that. And my mom said that it's something about, like, they have, when people are going through something like that, you have angels with you or something. And, you know, especially for kids. And so, because even when a kid is going to pass or something, there's a certain, you know, a certain way that they would approach it. It's trippy too. It's because your soul isn't really a kid. But when kids are having issues, the angels will gather around. Like what you think of as angels, it's your guides, it's your own thing. But what is trippy is like, so you have the dark and the light that's talking to you. And so even though I did the dark thing, I went and put the soap in the water and still gave it to him. So I still got in trouble and stuff. But they started telling me, talking to me and telling me, we told you you were going to get in trouble. And, I was only 3. And so, wasn't, thinking it all through. Like, I wanted to do something mean to my brother because he was making me get water for him. Or my mom was making me, and I just felt ignored. And he's just like, he gets to sit on dad's lap and all that stuff. So I was an irritated little 3-year-old. And so then, and I was probably always being told, because I was the oldest, that just falls on the oldest child. Go do this, go do that, get this, get that. Or, did you check on him? Did you do this? Like, you become like your mom's second hand or something, especially when you have a teenager mom. And so, anyways, so I was listening to the light, and then they were always talking to me and telling me more things. But so when you have, and it's so curious, is like, does everybody have it equally as the light and the dark talking? Like, can you feel the positive and negative charge inside of you when you focus on one or the other? And so, when you have these little kids who are going through something and then they become attached to this figure that is trying to be there for them. And so, it's attachment because it's more of a spirit, like how that guy had that thing chasing, running around with him. Like mine, when they were talking to me, they weren't coming down as a spirit. But then you got to remember also how I had that lady who was living on my stairs all the time. And the grandkids could see her because she was trying to spook them because she didn't like them. And she didn't want me. She didn't like that relationship because that's when I started having my grandkids around all the time. Where I started babysitting was when I had become single. And so they were coming over. They were starting school, and so they only had a half day or whatever. So I was watching them. I don't remember. It was like right before it was at that time when they're starting school. So they were over there all the time. But the one, she wouldn't even go up and down the stairs. She would go outside and go up the stairs. And I would go, what are you doing? She'd be like, that woman on the stairs, she's scary, she's mean. And then all my grandkids kept saying it. And then I had that medium come into my house, and she said, what's up with that lady on your stairs? And I was like, I don't know. The kids keep saying it, but I don't feel bothered. And she's like, oh, because she's very attached to you. She's not trying to bother you. She is very attached to you, but she's bothering them because she doesn't want them to. She's bothered by your relationship. It's taking away from her. Because see, these spirits get very attached. They are very possessive. And they are manipulative. And they will fuck with your head. And this is where I think it's like as a child, that when they are talking to you, even though they are of a negative charge, it feels positive because they're backing you up. They're there for you, making fun of this person, or, tripping this person or whatever, knocking that out of someone's hand while you're watching and stuff like that. And so it is, it can seem playful and funny to a child, but to the spirit, they're really an aggravation. They're a negative charge. They're a negative entity. And, and I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, they're demons and stuff. People go way too into that. Like, you know how charged a negative energy has to become an independent, conscious being that is able to create pain and suffering and stuff. Like the universe all works together. There isn't just like, devils that are doing this and angels that are doing this. It all works in, that word's coming into my head again, but I still can't say it. Symbiotic, symbiosis. You know what I'm saying? It all works together in balance. That's why when people are out of balance, that it puts things off. It puts things off in your own life. You know, when you start bringing yourself into balance, things will go better in your life. And so those attachment spirits, they can be like, I've got one, right? And he is a bully. Oh my God. I'm just started ignoring it. Like, it is, so what I would say is these become very possessive. They will talk a bunch of shit in your head to keep you divided, to keep you separated. And they will try and push other people away from you to keep you all to themselves. And so, you start noticing you're isolated, you're irritated with people. That's coming from inside. That's this, and that is where I could clear and clear and clear and clear, but as long as somebody's got a comfortable attachment, you can't make that go. That's you have to clear. Like that one on my steps, I had to go in and tell her, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. Go somewhere else. We'll meet you up later somewhere. But I've got a life going here. I'm not, and that is what you have to break free. And you've had an attachment since you were a child. That is a very comfortable attachment. Like it would feel very uncomfortable to detach. But the whole thing is learning about discernment of energy. And you're so manipulative. They're so tricky. So you think it's something that's good when it's not good for you. And so anyways, it's crazy to see that too, to see this one. It just keeps being like, it's weird. Like it tries to be very, and they will talk shit. Like they will talk shit. Like that energy of you, like me being here, then it will start saying stuff. And you have to really be like, wait a minute, where's that coming from? No, go away. Because it's so easy not to recognize it. They are really good at being able to go into your thoughts and your feelings and make it feel like it's coming from inside of you. And when you are not a conscious being that has awareness of what you are and who you are in this world, you're easily manipulated, you're easily tricked. And that to me is probably why there's so much dark energy around, is because it's a feeding frenzy, because people don't fucking know. And people are so upset and so scared and everything. And this was kind of weird too. Okay, so the guy who got the footage of the giant in Canada when he was driving, and he was driving with some guy in a car and then got this footage and this thing. And then when he posted, everybody went crazy. And so he was trying to get more footage. And then he disappeared. And so everybody was like, what the hell is going on? And I guess half the people in his comments were telling him, shut it down, you're going to get yourself killed, shut up. And the other half was, give us more, go find more. And so he was trying, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. So everybody was like, what the hell's going on? And then all of a sudden, like 10 days later, this video came out, what looked like, it was totally different than his other videos, because his other videos weren't anything about conspiracy, nothing like that. It was more, I don't know, travel, music. He was, his channel was completely different. And so, and he always held one of those things to video, like mine's on a stand, but some people will hold them, the little thing that holds your camera. And so he always had it where he did his own. And then this 10-day video, it's clear that he's over against a wall and someone's videotaping him. And he keeps doing this suspicious look like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Am I saying the right thing? Because he starts saying it was all fake and all that. It was all just a hoax, and he wanted to. And then like a week later, then he came out and he did a video and he said it wasn't a hoax. It was real, and I'm not going to be silent. And so then he came out with that. Then again disappeared. And then somebody went and looked it up, and his obituary came out. And his obituary came out that morning that he died that day. So magically they had the obituary early. Luckily it was ready to go because he died that day. And then 34 years old, and nothing coming out about like what killed him. And so, more suspicion and stuff. But the one guy who I saw talking about this was very much on the idea if it was a hoax, and that there's weird stuff like, like he just naturally died. Like, did he naturally die or did somebody get him? But the guy was just coming at it from very much like trying to explain things. Like, because some of the stuff he was saying was like, I wouldn't say that. Because I would say that, yeah, he probably got the footage, especially after knowing this story of the guy with the farm in Ellensburg. So he got the photo of the giant and started posting it, and we were watched on all social media. Like, even where this guy was like, well, why wouldn't the government just do this or that? Why would they just take the video? I'm like, oh, I've been censored the whole fucking time. So they can do a lot of stuff. Like, they can make sure your videos aren't seen. Like, they don't need to come in. I mean, they showed up at my door or at my gate, which is intimidating. Let me know, like, yeah, we got our eye on you, lady. So that is intimidating, but I also know, like, they can fly up here with a drone, shoot me with a laser, give me a heart attack, and I just die right here. But I also know death doesn't fucking matter. Who cares? Doesn't matter. So, I know it's cold. So, anyways, to me, he got the footage, and then he started posting it. So then they did the same thing, here, give us your video and we'll pay you for the video. We can't have this information out there. And whatever argument went on, because he said in the one post where he said, I'm going to tell the truth, he said, I can't even tell you all the stuff that's been going on. It's been crazy. So then it is, he's got the, this whole crazy thing, which I would think that they approached him. And then they said, well, we can't have you releasing this or whatever. We'll pay you. Who knows what all. Even the death could be fake. Like, how would anybody know? They can even put a closed casket. And then they can say you're cremated. It all is dependent on so many things. Like, even with Max disappearing after all that, being in Vegas, to me, that is a payoff too. And that one guy who had the big giant sinkhole, or it's not a sinkhole, it's like a pit. It's like a portal. And it's definitely a portal. And so when he had the portal, and they're going to pay him to disappear. I see they do that all the time. Even with that guy who had found all of the planets up there, and they told him he had to disappear for 30 years. Like, that's their thing. I don't think that they just automatically kill you. It's like they will make threats towards you. Like, they will, like some people say, they'll start out like they'll kill your dog and make you realize, like, hey, we mean business. Like, shut the fuck up. I mean, to me, luckily, I'm just thought of as crazy, so I can sit here and say this stuff because my audience is so limited. But that is also, like what the universe or whoever you think is talking to me, what they told me, that's part of the whole thing of being in the shadows during this part. And then there's going to be like an unveiling of people who have been in the shadows. It's like when everything flips the other direction, it's going to be like all these people like me or something have been out here putting all these videos out who have been unseen, are all of a sudden going to be like there. And it's all based on timing. It's based on what people need to hear at the right time. And so all the things I have been saying, like some of y'all, it's been great timing for y'all because y'all are ahead. You wouldn't be listening to me otherwise. You would just think I sounded crazy like the other people. But when other people get to that point, then it's like that thing that they always show me, that thing about the teacher and the learner. When the learner is ready, the teacher is there. And so it's kind of like that. Like they told me and showed me that a lot of times. It was like I was creating a library. I was preparing for something in the future. But it is still, I mean, it's been difficult. I'm not going to sit there and say, I mean, I still have an ego too, like go out and keep talking and nobody's listening. It's like, are you sure about this, guys? Are you sure? But they always tell me, yes, for sure. Shut up. Do what we're told. Do what you're told. I swear to God, sometimes I feel like more of a puppet. When you come to the realization of, you're a sim in a video game and the real you is up there, watching, then it is like very much feels like you're some sort of puppet or something. Like I get in arguments with them. Like I don't want to be told what to do all the time. So, anyways, I feel like I had a bunch of things I was saying. Let me think. Hold on. The planet thing, I think is just so cool. I really think that planet thing is cool. And I'm so curious. I wish that we could see more clearly. And I'm so curious how this is all going to go down. And the person was saying that the way these planets are so close and on top of each other and stuff like that is why the weather is so whacked out. That it's causing all of this crazy stuff. But I know also, though, I mean, it's the earth changing and it is all of these chemicals and their weather manipulation. Like we have a whole bunch of things going on, like way more than what we can even imagine, I think. And which is so trippy too is because even when I show this stuff and people are like, well, this is a simulation. Well, I know it's a simulation, but it's also a movie. We're also in this game. And in this game, this is really happening. In this game, we really do have all these planets coming from somewhere out, and to me, like I've said before, that our world, our solar system, our atmosphere, whatever, is really a plasma, liquidy, more stuff that is frequency. And so we're really more in ocean, in water, or in a fluid kind of a substance, not air, like what people think, like we're breathing air and stuff. It's not like that. It is, but here, like under the dome, we are breathing air. And there's a whole thing like about that too. I think there's a whole thing about the birthing into and being able, because even when you're coming out of your mother's womb, you're coming out of fluid into air. And I think it's a whole thing. And I think even that one little story that I had seen the other day that was talking about when we started and we were amphibians, and then, I don't know, it's almost like this old folklore or something. But it is that whole birthing process into being able to breathe air. Because in this atmosphere of this, bubble, because it really is like we're in this bubble, like a snow globe bubble. But our bubble is based on frequency, is dissolving. And so then, and to me, it's like, so we're in the water. We're not out there spinning and moving and all of that stuff like they say. Like we're more in water and we're more in movement. So these things that are coming up next to us, like, and she was talking about they can't hit into us because the magnetic will push, the two magnets will push themselves away from each other, but they're still coming in close, which, that would all be about like if you think about the future, like the age of Aquarius, and it being all about technology. Oh, and also I had just seen this, like there's a bunch of stuff with the Nisargasara. Like there's already stuff going on. Like that is expected to be, we should see evidence or something in our accounts in February from what I saw this thing talking about. And by March, things are going to be very different. So, oh man, fuck. I hope, man, that will change so much. Just the money thing. God damn. And just for a move. And Putin keeps saying stuff like, and he's talking about Nisargasar, like it's on the move. It's happening. And so many other places are already more in it. And so we've got to catch up, really. And that is going to just be like so many things are going to start happening so fast then. And I would think, like, I don't know, it's not even the weekend. Oh, this is Tuesday. So this week, and this is January 31st. So this week there will be more with the chaos. And so when there's more with the chaos, it's going to get real bad, like these storms and stuff. And I don't know if this guy was trying to be funny or what, but he was saying in Texas they've got a blizzard and there's barely any ice on the roads, but there's just crashes everywhere. Which to me, again, like I said, like I think they're spraying some sort of really slippery gel, oily stuff in with the water to make it more slippery, because more accidents is better for them. Oh my gosh. And the amount of crazy fucking things in the hospitals. Like this guy was in the hospital for some heart thing. They came in and told him he had to put on one of those things across his face. He said no. And so they brought in like 7. They brought in security, all these people to walk him out of the hospital. And he was getting it all on footage, and they're saying, you can't film us. It's like, yeah, when this goes viral, this is what I'm saying. The people who are out there working, who are following orders, you're getting yourself in some fucking, man. Like, you will not be able to walk down the road. Like you will lose friends. Like, when people start seeing, like you're playing on the wrong team. You know, you don't follow orders. Like, it's not good. People making the orders is not good. Oh, this is fucking ridiculous. So this was I don't know, maybe Vietnamese, Korean or something, woman, and she's super popular. I'd never seen her before, but when I went on to look, like, who the fuck is saying this? Like, what? She has almost 500,000 followers, so she's popular, and then I saw her videos, and it's all her talking, and you know, I didn't go in and listen. This one I just thought was just irritating enough. I wanted to go in and say something, and then I was like, oh, I've got too much to say. I can't even narrow it down. And then I was like, okay, Chuck, you'll find out for yourself. Like, you just show to 500,000 people your own ignorance. Like, Jesus. Because she was like, oh my God. I think she was talking about, I'm pretty sure, this is not genocide. Oh my God, are you guys so stupid? Like, you should probably go look up what it means. It is not just one race dying. It is not just one group of people dying. So, like, go learn what genocide means. I like the human race. Like, the human race. Like, they're killing the humans. You got that? Like, that's all of us. Like, they're not specifically saying this one or that one. No, it's all of us. It's like, oh my Lord, have mercy. But that is, you know, that is what you have out leading these people, where people, like, I can't believe they're so stupid. I can't believe they don't see. I can't believe. It's because they're all on this team. We're cheering each other on. It was so nice to see this one girl calling herself out on her biases, and, you know, that she was the one who wasn't listening to what other people are saying. And I've seen a lot of people now calling themselves out on the biases, now that they're realizing that and the hypocrisy behind it. Like, you know, I want to be heard. I want to be valued. What I have to say matters. And then when somebody else is talking, no, you don't matter, because, and how many people are putting it all together. As soon as you say one thing, suddenly you're a Trump-loving, racist, crazy, white supremacy, right alt. Like, there's this whole thing. As soon as you go against the narrative, you're check, check, check. It's like, and when it happens to you, you're like, wait a minute. What? How did I just switch all of a sudden into this whole other person? And, you know, it's their biases. They can't accept certain things. But you know, you got more people who are realizing it, at least, and saying, like, you know, I didn't value you because I thought this or I thought that. So I was really being a hypocrite. I wasn't listening. Those people have that ability to call themselves out and humble themselves and look at themselves deeply, they are on that healing path. Like, that is, the path to the truth, is you got to be honest with yourself. And so those people, like those ones that are on that path, I would say those are the ones that are headed towards the age of Aquarius, because the age of Aquarius, you have to be that more evolved being. And so, like, if you think about, like, as this vibration is raising, and so to me, it's like we're moving through the water up to closer to higher vibration things in this higher technology, where they're saying we're going to be moving around, we're going to be traveling interplanetary and stuff like that. So it's kind of like this whole system is like, it's like we're moving into this whole system that is right there. So to me, it will be like we're going to have, and I had heard this too, and I don't know about this, but that when these things change, so the ones of us who have been doing the healing, have been working on ourselves, trying to really understand who and what we are, that our abilities will just all of a sudden jack up. Like, we will have these we will be able to master certain things, where the other people are just going to be starting on their healing, that there's going to be this big transformation that for the people who have been working on it, like everything's going to just be like this magical transformation, which will also drive the other people to want to do the same, because then they'll see like, oh my gosh, I guess I should have been more focused on this instead of hate and, violence. So, man, my stomach is growling. And so anyways, to me, it's like we're gonna have it's like we're kind of like we're moving into this new neighborhood, and this neighborhood is going to be all more in alignment with us. So it's going to open up all of this new adventure and stuff for us to be able to go out and travel. And, like I was saying, even on those older maps where you see, and this was yesterday, I turned on this old movie. It was funny too, because it was this old sci-fi horror movie from the 70s. And the guy's name was Walter. And I'm pretty sure it was Walter. I was like, oh my God, I swear to God, I've seen this guy in other movies. And I swear to God, back then, Walter was like this Walter, he's been in other movies or something. It was weird. It was so strange. This one was, he was a sculptor, and he wasn't really a sculptor. He was really just, some, guy who had nothing going on, and he was hanging out. He was a waiter in a place where all these artists hung out, and they would all do like arty things, and he wanted to be accepted by them. And then he wanted to start doing clay, and then he ended up killing a cat by accident, and then he put the clay all over it and made this gorgeous statue. So then his whole thing, he started killing people and made them into statues, and then it had to go through the whole movie for him to figure out. But the in this arty thing, like where they would do poems, and it's so funny because it's just like, this was the 70s, but it was just like if you were looking at one in the 2020s, where they're up there, and because they have the saxophone going, it's kind of like in the So I Married an Axe Murderer, when he'd go up and do his, you would have that sax player, so it was kind of like that. So this, I think it was a sax player on his, but anyways, he had this music thing, he would go, and so in this one, it had this guy, and he had a sax player, and he would say his poems and stuff. And he was doing this whole poem for Walter, how great Walter was of an artist or whatever, and about humanity and being a human and how, this whole thing. But he said about the firmament. I was like, well, isn't that funny? So here it is in the movies in the 70s or 60s. I think it was 1960, might have even been 57. But the stuff like saying about the firmament, because they sure the hell don't talk about that in newer movies. They want us to think we're out spinning out in the thing, and we don't matter, like we're just like we're bacteria to the planet, and bad bacteria. And so for them to sit there and say about the firmament, the humans coming in to be birthed, and all this stuff he was saying, I was like, oh my gosh, when was it that they started doing all this lying and stuff? Did they go in and try and take a lot of stuff out and they just didn't get it all? I don't know. But So in that old map where it shows, you can find it, I've talked about it before, but it shows all these land masses outside of the ice wall. And I think it might have been like Admiral Byrd. I don't know whose map this was, but so on the outside of the Arctic, the land masses look exactly the same as what is inside, but they're outside, and then they have names that are the same names of the planets that are out in the sky, they tell us. So they're in the waters next to us. So they're out, and the ice, to me, the ice wall is the parameter where this toxic environment can exist. But this toxic environment is becoming no more. It's healing. And so this toxic environment is busting apart. It's falling apart. And so that's where I think like the ice wall is going to be gone. I think that the firmament's going to go, and we're going to be like more in the seas with these other planets and stuff, and we'll be able to start moving. That was one thing that they said, that the people who were had already been doing their healing and working on this stuff, there would be a big advancement in how we would be able to move through not just portals, but there was going to be something big in our understanding of how we can move. Like we'll start being able to do things before other people. Like, I don't know, it's one of those things to wait and see. I hope that, I mean, I know that there was a purpose to all this stuff that we've been working on, and healing and trying to, and just staying centered during all this crisis that is happening around us. That's a big thing, to be able to stay, you control, not get caught up in the fear and the outrage and all of the stuff going on, to stay centered into your truth. And so that is very significant, I think. And so then, and even when I was driving in from town yesterday, and I was behind this car, and this one car in front of me was really irritated with the car in front of them, and they kept trying to pass them. And then finally they did. And it was an intense pass. It was so slow. I was like, God, just go faster. I hate it when they're going so slow next to them. It's like, oh my God, am I going to see a wreck? And then, but while I was driving behind him, I kept thinking, man, I know we don't have to travel like this. I know this is the only reason we're traveling like this is because we believe we have to travel like this. And I was going all off on that whole thing. And that has been happening to me. I don't know. I know that was happening when I was still going to the eye doctor, because quarantine had already happened when I was still going to the eye doctor. And I remember driving and thinking that, and in all of the times when I had problems seeing, how they would tell me, don't stress, we got it, we got you, and that, and they've shown me and told me, like, that they're in control, and when it's time that it would be, if I were to wreck and die, that was because it was supposed to happen that way. And so, I don't need to worry about it. That, like, they've got the wheel. And I've had a lot of times where I've, not let go of it I drive a lot with my knees, but, so that I'm not gripping. But I mean, when you go in on the passes and stuff, it's definitely two hands grip, like, but, just driving normally, like, I'm not, and I don't know, I'll go into my own little world, which I know tons of people do, tons of people, because that was something we talked about in nursing school, is how often you get to a place and you're like, how did I get here? I don't even remember driving, because we go into some other kind of mental state when we're driving, which is so strange. And then, and knowing that we don't even need to do it, that we are creating that for ourselves because we believe we have to travel that way. Like, those are all things, like, I know, but I don't know how, like, and so I don't know, is the energy going to do something so the things that we know, that we'll actually be able to do them or something? Like, because there's lots of times where I feel like, man, can I just pick my car up and just fly? Can I just all of a sudden be in the place I'm going? Like, how does this work? because I know this is some bullshit. That we got to drive there, especially like I'm driving there, and are all surrounding me as backdrops. I swear to God, the mountains have moved closer. Like it was mental. I was driving. I wanted to sit there getting footage nonstop, but when you're driving on the highway, you can't do it. But I was like, okay, this is no way. This is the mountains have moved up closer, and then and they're closer to each other. It's like they're right on top of each other, and then the lighting with them. The way the lighting is. It's like, this is a motherfucking backdrop. This isn't even fucking real. And here, oh, I've got to drive to get there. No, I know we don't. I just know it. And I know I've been talking about this for a while because I've said, even when you go off outside, that it is like there's portals around us. That is why they try and keep us restricted. And I swear to God, that's why they started doing drones. I think they fly drones around looking for more portals, especially the big obvious ones. But I mean, there's ones that you can't even see. And then you got the ones that, the stairs just all of a sudden show up. And then you have ones where, I mean, you can be driving and drive through one, and all of a sudden you're in a different space and time. So it's all around us. And, I don't know. To me, it's like we are in like this. It just reminds me so much of like when you put a fish tank in your house, and then you put like the little thing on the back so it looks like they're out in the ocean and they can swim up. They can't get anything, but you can put little things around in the tank. So they think that like they're out in the ocean or something. They're out in a lake or something. Like we're tricking them. They just go around in their space, around and around. That's us. That's us. It's micro macro. That's fucking us. That's what we are having done to us. And so it's like, I don't know. I'm super excited. I'm really, really hopeful that this Nisargasar is going to be going over the next couple of weeks, because that's going to change the money thing. That is going to start opening up the land stuff. And so many people, I don't even understand this. Like how many people's houses are burning down. Like you got all these colds and stuff. Like is this something with their fires? Are they actually coming in with drones and hitting houses purposely and just starting them on fire? Because there's an extreme amount. This house yesterday I saw, and this was a black woman, and she was devastated. And her house was a fucking palace. Oh my God, I cannot believe this house, because she was going through showing, because I guess the fire happened, and so then they had to leave in the middle of the night or whatever, and then they came back in the morning, so they hadn't seen it. And oh my God, it was, oh man, there was nothing there was some structure left, but everything was, falling onto the next floor. It was a multi-leveled house, but the house was so freaking fancy and it was so full of stuff. Like she had so much stuff. But the way you could tell how fancy it was is because she had a attached giant greenhouse to the side of the house. So this whole like giant garden room, I'm talking giant, all glass room with an indoor pool. And it was all fancy around it. So I was like, oh my God, this place was fancy as fuck. It was a big pool. It wasn't a little tiny pool. And it wasn't like a jacuzzi or a hot tub. It was a big ass pool in a green room or a greenhouse attached to her house. Like it was attached. Like she had an indoor pool. And then when she was walking around, it was just room and room. And then there was other people with her. And all of her stuff. I mean, you would have to dig through all that stuff to, it's heartbreaking. My daughter had a house fire. I've known other people who have had them. It is really heartbreaking. But there's so many right now. There's so many, it's just loss after loss after loss that people are going through. And, jobs, family, like everything. And, I know why it's happening. Like, I get it. It's happening so that you understand that there's another level to this. Don't stay so caught up in what's going on in the habitat. Start thinking outside the box. Start realizing that there's this world outside. And the world is coming in to show itself. Like, it's coming in hot. Like, these planets are are all around us. And I really think it has something to do with our new, it'll be like our new kind of atmosphere, our new kind of, like I do think we're going to have a lot of places, a lot of things are going to open up for us to be able to go out and have adventures and explore, and all the different beings that we get these opportunities to meet and learn from and grow and expand. Like, this is such exciting times. I cannot wait to start getting into that part. And I know it's all like horrible and tragic and stuff right now, and I know people are going through tragedy after tragedy, and I definitely don't mean to be anything about love and light. Don't worry about it, because, you know, tragedy and stuff hurts, and that is what you're going through. It is happening, so you do go through it, so you do heal. It's promoting things to come up in you that have been dormant, probably for life after life after life. And so these things are all promoting these pain to come out. Like, you know, losing a house, like, I mean, it could have been in other lives. You lost these things, and, you know, it devastated you, and you killed yourself. So now you're going to lose it again. So you can see that there's life after loss. It is what we create. It's how we go about, you know, moving through existence. And so it's all for you to witness in yourself. But, you know, I mean, they keep so many people trapped witnessing what they want them to witness, instead of growing and understanding what this place is and the opportunity that is here for you. But way more people are waking up all the time. Like, it's crazy. And huge amounts. So I know everything is going, you know, it's going as planned. It's all going as planned. And then, or it's going as written. It's because it's written. It's written in the stars. Like, this is going to happen. It's all going to play out. And, you know, it was written that we would be interacting with other beings and learning from them, that mankind was in this big evolution of its own, like, we're moving out of this very much angry, violent beings and moving into you know, spiritual, mindful, understanding, you know, being a part of the balance of the universe, not being part of the problem, being a part of the solution. So it is really transformative what's going on. It's very exciting, especially when I was looking at those maps. You know, I think that one map is so cool about showing all those, you know, Sirius is next to all these different ones that are around us, all these other islands, because that's what I think that we are. And that is what I think, like, I think that's why we have distinct looking groups. Like, you know, to me, I look at the Middle Easterns and then you compare them to, like, the Chinese. It's totally two different groups. Like, just because we're on the same planet, that is just landmass space that has been all consumed under this umbrella, as far as I'm concerned. And these different groups are really different beings, or the representation of different beings, because all of our stuff has been so with the DNA. But it's very interesting too, because it could be, you know, it comes out, like, because we definitely know that there's a lot of experimenting and stuff, but that some of the original, like, say, you know, people from Saudi Arabia or something, that they are really this other planet, and that though that group of people were those people from that place. You know what I mean? It's so weird, because you have, like, you have these groups that come in, like, when we still have ones that are here. We have reptilians, we have Dracos, we have Greys, we have all different beings that are here, in incarnations even. And some aren't, you know, confused. Some are just, like, shape-shifting more than just birthed in. And so, but you have the whole group of the part where the DNA was all messed with. But then you have other groups that are very distinct from one another. And so, you know, is there beings, it's kind of like certain being templates or something, like So you have a certain temple. I don't know. I just know that there's something to this whole thing, with the ones being different, and the land masses, and this whole concept of Earth and all of that stuff, and outside of the ice wall, that there's beings, like go to, say, Syria or whatever, or the other planet, like not Syria, but Syrian, or isn't it weird too how there's so many of these repeat names and stuff? Like when they went in and they did all this DNA stuff, did other beings fly in and take over certain places? Like, I don't know. There's a lot going on here. A lot that we're being lied to about. A lot that we have to learn. But anyways, I just feel like that if we went to another place outside of the ice wall, and we went to one of these other land masses, I think that we would go up and we'd find people who look very much like Hawaiians. We go somewhere else, we find some people who look very much like people from Mongolia. I don't even know what else to call it. Asian, but you can't say Asia because that's also got Persian. It's got other people who look more Middle Eastern, so you can't just say that all the people in Asia look more, I don't know, it's just so crazy how they've done all this stuff. But you go to some places, and so you would go to that planet or that landmass, and all the people will look like them. So all the people will look like Saudi Arabia, or all the people are going to look like Native Americans or whatever. So you'd have the whole planet will look like that. That's what I'm saying. And here we've got such a huge mix, and that is all because we are an experiment. We are this thing about bringing all the different philosophies and beings together into one creation. And then that's why there's so many different aspects, because all the different DNAs that, there's so much going on, and that is what it's more about. This place is more about that. All this other stuff with government and AI, all of that stuff, that is, part of this system that these beings are trying to put in place. Especially, I saw this thing yesterday too, with the 5-minute city now that they want to push on. Not the 15 minutes, like that's way too much. But on top of that, then this other commercial, because that's a whole commercial, like these commercials, and they're always trying to sell this stuff. And then when you have people with this attitude, well, it is really hard to go to a grocery store outside of my area, so 15 minutes, that's good, I can walk everywhere. Well, yeah, you're not thinking it through, because then that's it. That's your jail. That's your containment. Yeah, I mean, this one lady was even explaining it as you only get a certain amount of calories because of your carbon footprint. So we're allowed to eat a certain amount. And it's going to all be monitored. And what you buy, what you spend, that's their plan, making everything smaller. And so when these people are like, yeah, I don't need to go far, but then they're going to trap you. You can't go outside of your district. And this one lady was saying, like, you may be allowed like 3 trips or something, then that's it. Yeah, because you're not allowed to use more gas, you're not allowed, like all of these restrictions. It's all about control and cutting us off from people. And then they would go and create division and all sorts of stuff. But one of the other commercials I saw along with that one was what a wonderful, great thing once we have a microchip. Like, it's going to be such a blessing. You'll be able to just turn your TV on, and your TV's going to know exactly what your mood is. It's going to put on the music that makes you feel good. It's going to give you stimulus because it knows what you need. Motherfucker, I fucking know what I need. I don't motherfucking need a computer to tell me. Like, what? What? And then what? In the whole way they market it, like, go find the commercial. It's disturbing. I couldn't even watch it all. It was making me sick to my stomach because I knew there's people who would think, oh yeah, cool, man. You don't have to tell Alexis. You just can think it, and she's gonna know right what you want. That's some creepy shit. And you get these tech people, who are all like into this sci-fi. Oh man, that's so cool. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Like, oh my God, follow the fucking path. Where's leading you? Like, oh my Jesus Christ. And then they override the system. Like, that's one thing. Like, okay, oh, that's so cool. I don't have to think for myself. My computer will think for me. It will know what my needs before I know my needs. Then, if you got, and then once you have bought into that, and you're, you know, letting your computer think for you and tell you what you want, and tell you what you need, then you got somebody who's overriding it. So the main, and then, you know, it's funny too, because, you know, once that started happening and people are glitching and like, oh, I didn't want that, then they would be like, oh, well, AI is taking over. We don't know what to do. It's the man behind the curtain. So anyways, you know, everything they're doing, it's just so sad how people are just believe it and think, oh yeah, that's so cool. I'd be cool. I could walk everywhere, ride my bike everywhere, be safe. And then, you know, my computer will think for me. I don't even have to think. I don't have to do anything. The computer will do it. And then you got this person who's running the computer, who's, you know, telling you, go get a drink of water, and you get up and go get a drink of water, and you come and sit back down, go get a drink of water, and you come back. I mean, it's just fucking toy with you too. Like, I just can't, I just can't even, but you know, I mean, I have awareness of I have awareness of things that people don't have awareness of. And this one that is, tries to, and it's crazy too, because like when she goes in and got to bed, it will stand and guard the door. It will stand right there in the hall and guard. And every time I like walk into my bedroom or anything, it kind of like tries to do this like I'm right here, bitch. It's like, fuck you. I see you, motherfucker. I don't give a fuck about you. And yeah, it just, I don't know. It's but you know, I mean, it's so hard to explain things if people don't understand, but it's like you have that level, but then, you know, that level is going to level up. So just go full on into the computer. We don't need beings just sitting around talking to you. We're just going to let them control you 100%. Like, who the fuck would be birthed into that? Like, I wouldn't be birthed into experience. Like, I cannot stand feeling like something else or someone else has something control. I don't like the sounds coming into my ears. I don't like feeling things inside. I don't want somebody else controlling my being. And it's weird how people just don't realize. I don't know. It's like, to me, it just always comes back to you don't have an awareness that you have a soul. You don't have an awareness of what and who you are. You don't have awareness of the spiritual world. You don't have awareness of the supernatural, magical place that exists all around you. Man, and the visuals and stuff they show me is so trippy, but I can't even, like, that is like a person just so isolated, and then it spans out and it's just empty space. And people just, I don't know, people just don't realize, like, I don't know, but people are, you know, starting to realize more, you know, so that's cool. Like, people are starting to see and question. Like, I do see a lot of videos, and I don't know what's up with my fucking algorithm now, where I've got all these, like, it's not genocide. Yeah, they're not trying to kill you. Don't worry about it. Go take another one, for God's sakes. Prove these people wrong. And then you go in the comments. Yeah, I've had 3. I can't even believe these people trying to say, I'm about to go get another. Like, I've had so many. It's like, no problem. I don't understand. These people are so stupid. They're so crazy. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of people are going to be like, all of a sudden, get this shit out of me. Get it out of my blood. Do a blood transfusion. I don't care. Get this shit out of me. It was like, I think there's going to be some panic and some terror coming up real quick. And that is what we're going to see. A lot of anger, confusion, and people, man, they're just so misled. So anyways, man, that's where we're at. So to me, I think there's supposed to be some big changes, coming up fast. 2023 is supposed to be, when we are going to see a lot of stuff. So, I know we've been dragging this out for quite a while, but I do feel like things are picking up and things are getting more and more crazy and more crazy. And then there will be this just smack dab, what? Everything going, what? And I can't wait for that. And I hope, because even, where people are starting to be like, Putin, I think Putin's not a good guy. And so many things that people, like, they start to say, but they're kind of embarrassed to say it. Like, don't get mad at me. Like, everybody's so concerned what other people think. Like, why are you so concerned with these people who don't know what the hell's going on? You gotta stay locked in with them. I don't want to go outside of they may make fun of me. Like, you better get comfortable being made fun of. Like, don't sit here and be like, I'm gonna be somebody different so nobody makes fun of me. Like, who gives a fuck? Somebody who's making fun of somebody, that's their problem. They've got issues. They're hiding themselves. And they're so embarrassed to show themselves that they're going to make fun of anybody who does. Like, who cares? You got to get it into your mind. You're a fucking super soul. You are a soul that is here for change. You are not here to just be, a part of the game, a figure in the game. You're here to show something. You're here to show people how to play the game. Like, I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. Anyways, I guess I will get going. Anyways, to me this week, I'm hoping for change, but I really do think that the money thing is coming up. And once the money thing starts going, I don't know how they'll drag it out too slow, but I know they're going to start with the homesteading. And there's so many homeless people. There's so many people losing everything. I just feel like that is going to be a huge incentive program within the Sarah Gacera. And the person I heard explaining stuff yesterday, and the way they explain it, they're always saying these things that I don't understand this stuff, but it's very professional sounding. What the things that they say. So, but I think there's going to be a lot of incentives that are going to be fast to try and help people get into safer places, get homes, get shelters, and stuff like that. And I think that there will start being the truth about what's going on with these planets, what's going on, what's the cataclysm. Are we going to all of a sudden the firmament going to open and we're going to be underwater, or the sun going to blast us? Give us some information about what's going on here. So anyways, stay strong and stay safe, and the storms are just going to keep on coming. Chaos is going to keep on coming. And the mass shootings, the mass murderings, all of it, it's not stopping until, you can't even say until things go the other way, because when it goes the other way, it's going to start a whole new group that's going to be out there overreacting and angry. The only thing is it's not going to be directed to other people. It will be directed towards like hospitals, pharmacies, like capitals, like politicians, like there's going to be, so I guess it will be attack on people, but it's going to be the ones that should be under, they should be. You can't go around doing all this hateful, horrible stuff to people and think you can get away with it. There's no getting away with anything. I've said that quite a few times, and it's the truth. There's no getting away with anything. It's impossible. So don't try. Talk to you later. Bye.